And that's why AEW will never, ever be, in any sense of the word, any true competition to WWE.
Russo'sBrand.com, where the pros are the pros.
Well, Eric Bischoff on his podcast was talking about, in his opinion, that being in AEW lowers the value of talent. And they were talking about when WWE was interested in Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks years ago before they went to AEW. And Eric said, when you talk about Kenny and you talk about where the Young Bucks are today, I think their perceived value was much greater before going to AEW than it is now. I think the perception of them has been taken down enough that it's just probably not as attractive to WWE as it would have been 3 or 4 years ago. Does anybody feel like they have more value and equity in the marketplace today than they did before they came to AEW? And he also suggested the same could be said about Jon Moxley, Edge, Mercedes Moné. He said, quite frankly, I think Mercedes Moné's character has just taken a giant hit. Her brand has been severely damaged as a result of being involved in AEW television.
I brought that up how long ago? Remember, I had that conversation with Vince Russo about Moxley, that it struck me that after Moxley had jumped and went to AEW, that literally he no longer was a star. Like, he did not come across, he wasn't featured. He just looked like he was one of the gang. Where in WWE, you really kind of felt like he was a star, that he was presented as a star. And that's the biggest difference. That's because WWE is a platform that is specifically designed to allow you, the talent, to be a star. If you're not a star in WWE, you're doing something wrong, quite honestly. It is not, and I've said this, and Russo, he does the same, takes the same tact of blaming, all the writers, the writing, the creative. Yeah, it does play a part in things. But you know what? At the end of the day, when you walk through the curtain, contrary to what every single one of those people backstage will tell you, as a wrestler, there is absolutely nothing anyone can do to help you to do the one goal that you're supposed to do, which is be a star. And there's nothing anyone can do to hinder you. I mean, look at, we have so many examples. Look at Bryan Danielson. He went out there and he did what? Vince didn't have an interest in getting him over. I promise you. He got himself over and took advantage and was able to make himself into a star. And you can make whatever excuse you want. And yeah, there are politics, and yeah, there are times that they will hold you down, and but they can't deny it. If you go out there and you get the crowd on you to boo you or to cheer you, the last thing you want is to go out there and for them to be apathetic. As long as they give you something, then you are going to be a noticeable and a usable part of the show. You may not be the main event guy, but you are going to be always in a prominent fashion. Say what you want about my career. I was on TV more than just about anybody else other than Steve Austin. Every single week. I was on Sunday Night Heat. I was on Raw when we had Velocity, and then I'd be on SmackDown. Sometimes I was on 4 shows a week. I was doing something all the time, and you can do it too. If you are a wrestler, you're that wrestling show, contrary to what Russo understands about it, is a television commercial to sell a product, and you're the product. And that wrestling match is a commercial for you. It is not a wrestling match. It is about you being able to reach and attract an audience, and then emotionally get them to invest to a point where they want to be motivated to see you each week, and then be motivated to leave their home and pay to see you when you come to their hometown. No ifs, ands, or buts. And it's the promoter's responsibility to build that platform, to give you the best platform possible to present yourself as a star. You cannot get, no ifs, ands, or buts, you cannot get a better or bigger platform than WWE. And the prime example of that is when you compare, like this conversation that we're having, Moxley, Edge, Monet, You compare all of those people that have left WWE and be honest, be objective. Don't be skewed by your loyalty to either one company, because I have none. Nothing's coloring my perception. When I'm watching the show, I see Moxley and he doesn't look nearly, not even remotely like he did when he was in WWE before he left. I commented on that, remember, a long time ago, how his stock seemed like it has dramatically dropped. That should not happen when you transfer from one platform to another, and that shows the weakness of AEW, that it is not a platform that immediately allows the ability of the wrestler to create an impression that they are a star. The wrestler has to go out there and earn it. As talented and as amazing physically and as adept athletically as Kenny Omega and even Will Ospreay are, they don't come across to the general audience as stars. The minute, I promise you, the minute they were to go to WWE, it would change overnight.
Why is that? What's the difference?
Because the platform, because of the WWE, that Vince McMahon knew how to create a platform that makes you look like a star. Period. That's it. Tell me I'm wrong, and I'll give you a great example. Tell me I'm wrong. Okay, Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Eric Young. I can go down the list.
Chris Jericho was one back in the Attitude Era. That
WCW. He was in WCW. That was the thing with WCW. It was the platform. When a guy was given the opportunity to go to WWE, what happened to them? Boom, and it wasn't because it was the platform. WCW only made a few actual stars. I think one of the only ones was Bill Goldberg. Look at what Big Show was in WCW as to what Big Show became in WWE. Look at Samoa Joe in TNA. Not downplaying, but how much more prominent was he in WWE?
Even someone like Booker T, who was at the top of WCW.
WCW came to WWE, and where did it go? Now he's legendary. That's the example. That's why. That's the machine, and that's the platform that allows you to do it. Absolutely, yeah.
So with the AEW platform, if they had to change one thing to go into that direction, what would it be? There are multiple things they would have to change. It's a real, and I don't have the answer. I wish I did, because I desperately am always seeking down here in OVW a way to where I can improve and create that platform to allow the wrestlers to be perceived more as stars and less as just wrestlers. That's the key to drawing money. Whenever a territory got hot, in this will sound misogynistic and all this, but it's not. It's just a fact. If anyone wants to debate it and question it, we can go on YouTube and we can sit and watch any live event. Doesn't matter, concert, sporting event, boxing, wrestling, UFC. Brother, when you know you're going to make money, all you got to do is go look at the crowd and tell me how many women are in the audience. Tell me how many women. Back in the Attitude Era, how many women did you see in the audience on live TV? Go back to the Crockett days when Ricky and Robert were really red hot. Tell me how many women you see in the audience. When the Von Erichs were really hot, tell me how many women were in the audience. Okay? Why? Because the wrestlers are no longer perceived as wrestlers. They're perceived as stars. And that's what draws money. Go to Memphis, where they had that 5-year run. I quote this all the time. 5 years, Jeff, selling out the Mid-South Coliseum every Monday night, week after week, 52 weeks a year. Why? Go look in the audience. Tons of women. It's just a fact. You can see that now if you compare even today's WWE crowd with AEW crowd. There's way more women in WWE.
And that's what I was about to say. I want you to not watch the wrestling. I want you to look at the audience and tell me how many women you see in an AEW crowd as compared to what you see in the WWE crowd. Period. You know, when UFC was ultra hot and you would look at the audience, how many women were in the audience? You know, tons, thousands of women. Boxing, when it's hot, when Mike Tyson was red hot, how many women were in the audience? You know, that's a fact. You could, you know, and if anybody wants to question it, I'm telling you, just go back and and then don't watch the wrestling. Just look in the audience and tell me. When back in the day, when Ricky and Robert would come to the ring, or when the Von Erichs came to the ring, the police had to accompany them because women were grabbing them and dragging them, and they had to fight their way through the audience just to get to the ring. Not because they had heat. Well, they had heat because women were in heat, but I mean, they were grabbing them. They were trying to pull pieces of their clothing off, and that is where you make money. And that platform, WWE has that platform that ensures that you have the best opportunity as a performer to go out there and make yourself into a star. You know, the reason they don't is the focus, the mindset in WWE is all about that. That understanding is clear from Vince McMahon down. It's about making stars. In AEW, it's all about the performance. It's all about the quality of the match. It's all about the wrestling. It's not about making the person a star. Let's face it, there were a lot of guys that drew a lot of money. You go back, especially in the 80s, go back and watch some of those matches. Oof. Some of them are, you know, but did they draw money? Yeah. Did those fans ever leave the building to go, oh, that match was terrible? No, they'd always leave because they never sold the match. They sold the who. And that, I'll preach that till I'm dead. You sell who and you sell why. Because again, I'm a guy, okay? I have a wife and I have kids. Granted, I have 6 kids. I don't know why. I mean, they just keep multiplying. They keep springing up. I just find them like Easter eggs around the house. And I move and they keep finding me. So don't fool yourselves, guys, if you think you're going to get away that way, because you're not. They're going to track you down, especially with the internet today. It makes it even easier. I don't even own a farm. I don't, you know, what am I doing with them? It's not 1908 where I need to, you know, make sure, hey, a couple might fall off. So, you know, I got to have a couple extras around. Like the twins, you know, I just got one for spare parts. I'm a parent. I have 2 kids. I'm going to buy a ticket to your wrestling show. All right. I'm going to bring my wife. She's got to go, you know, because otherwise I'll get heat. And then I got to bring the kids. Same thing. You don't want to bring the kids? I thought we'd just go. No, got to bring them. Now, I've now got to buy 4 tickets. And let's just say the price is $10 a ticket. It's $40. Doesn't sound like a whole lot of money, but it is to me because I'm just a regular working class guy. That's the majority of the world. Now I got to buy them food. Why? Because kids constantly eat. Why? I don't know, but they're like termites. They'll just burrow through your house. And then they're going to want something as far as merch, and they're going to cry and then I'm going to get heat with the wife, and I'm not going to get laid, so I got to buy them merch. Okay. I've spent about $100. Do you think I want to sit there and watch a 5-star match? Quite honestly, I'm not knocking the whole 5-star. I could care less. It means nothing to me. Do you think I care about having a 5-star match, or do you think I care enough that I want to be able to believe in who you are, really believe you are who you say you are, and really believe that that win and loss that you're attempting to do has a consequence to it, that you don't get paid, or you make money, or you want to kick that guy's ass because he kicked your mom down the stairs? Do you think I want to believe in that, or do you think I just want to see a really great athletic match? Do you think I want to believe to the point where I'm not sitting there going, oh man, I'm going to have to pay the power bill late this month because I spent money taking the kids out? Or do you think I want to forget about all my troubles and all my worries and just have fun? Why is it that for some reason in this business, every performer's forgotten that? It's more about getting the applause and the pat on the back of a fan, a well-informed fan, writing a report about me than it is about appealing to that audience that bought a ticket that night and having them leave out the door going, God, I can't wait to come back and see that again. See him again. See this whole thing again.
Yeah, why is that? It seems like social media, the instant social media feedback on their phone is more important than what the crowd.
Because that started back at WrestleMania 3, when the predominant opinion is that now a match that was on the undercard was the best match on the show, as opposed to the match that motivated that many people to pay to see it. So now every performer aspires to be the undercard match, and they don't try to be the match that motivates the most people to show up. That's where it intrinsically shifted. And that was where now the focus was on appealing and getting the critical acclaim as opposed to getting the financial benefit of the business. And that's why I rail against it so much. And that's why AEW will never, ever be, in any sense of the word, any true competition to WWE, because to your question that brought this whole conversation up, they are no way, shape, or form in thought process or in appearance or in approach a platform that will give the performers who really genuinely want to become stars the ability to do so compared to WWE. In fact, leaving WWE and going there in a fan's eyes is a step down. And a good recent one would be Ricochet. I've seen, I don't know how many recent little memes or whatever you call them on the social media, basically guys back going, Ricochet left packed WWE arenas for this, and they'll show a photo of a half-empty arena that Ricochet is now performing in front of. And I don't blame, when I heard a bit of an interview from Ricochet, I don't blame him, because for the number of years that he had been there, and he kind of felt like he had went full circle, and then he felt like he was stuck in the spot that they had him in. And I don't blame him. He made a very smart decision, which was to go someplace else, basically reinvent himself. But the problem is if he's not utilizing this opportunity to intentionally go there to make himself look like a star, to sell himself back to get another opportunity in WWE, it won't work. If he's going there to continue to perform the same way, in the manner of it's all about the match and not about selling him, he won't get that second opportunity to go back to WWE and become an even bigger star when he goes back to WWE. Cody, smart, knew, understood, left, went to help create AEW, and he literally created it as a platform to do one thing: make himself look like he was a top guy, so that he could then do what? Come back to WWE and be a top guy. And it worked.